shave down there for birth. Well, we're home and so excited about it.
Yes,
seriously, couldn't be more excited to be in this little apartment of ours again. Crew has every single one of his toys out because he's that excited to play with them again. If you didn't see my Instagram stories, the event of getting home was just very long. Like, we did 4 flights in 2 days because we had to go from Wisconsin back to Utah because that's where my brother's wedding was, from Utah back to Hawaii. So it was like 4 flights, 2 full days of flying and layovers and staying in a hotel. We were over it and Crew was very over it, poor guy. It was miserable, and Connor and I both looked at each other and said, let's remind ourselves, let's film a video of ourselves saying we never want to do this again. But we're so happy to be home, and I thought it'd be really fun to film this video today about girl talk. I saw this idea from my friend.
Because she's outnumbered
You're not in for girl talk?
She's outnumbered by boys, so she's got to talk about
I am very outnumbered, about to be outnumbered 3 to 1. That's just not okay. I saw this idea from my friend Abby Howard and it looked really fun, so I want to talk about all things pregnancy, postpartum, dating, all the girl talk. So I'm gonna leave these boys because they don't get to be a part of girl talk. I'm gonna go in my office and have fun. Hi guys, welcome to the Girl Talk YouTube video. I just sat down and wrote down a bunch of your guys' questions, and I'm really excited because I feel like this is just me chatting with a bunch of you that I can't see, but I know you're out there, and it feels fun because I feel like I have a bunch of best friends. So I'm really excited. I feel like I don't get a ton of girl talk unless I'm with like my friends, because obviously I'm surrounded by boys all day. I'm really excited to go over these questions. There's a bunch about like postpartum, pregnancy, labor, periods, kisses, dating, all the good stuff. So let's dive right in. Okay, first question that I got a lot was to talk about my first period story and like how old I was when I got my first period. So if I remember right, I was like a sophomore in high school. Mine came a little later than all of my friends, and I was so nervous to get it. And I remember I got it at school is when it started, and I came home for lunch with my friends, and my friends had to teach me how to put in a tampon through the door of like the bathroom. So I was like looking with a mirror because I had no idea what was going on down there, and my friend was like talking to me through the door, now like, you do this and make sure you do this right, and it was so funny. So that's my first period story. Nothing like too embarrassing. I never like, it didn't like bleed through my clothes or anything like that, so I was all good there. Okay, biggest insecurity, and I added with this the thing that I love most about my body, because the other day I was at like a bridesmaids like get together and for a wedding, and I just was so sad about how people were like talking so bad about their bodies, and I just feel like as girls in general, we're just like really hard on ourselves and about like our body image. And so I've been trying really hard to be positive this year. So biggest insecurity, I would definitely say, is probably my hands and my toes. I have really chubby fingers and toes, and I'm definitely not your hand model, and I wish I had prettier skinny fingers and toes, but that's probably my biggest insecurity. And then the thing that I love most about my body is probably my, like, how it's naturally more toned. So I feel like I can put on muscle pretty quickly, and I can like recover. I feel like I recovered pretty good from my last baby, just like with working out. Obviously I had to do things to get there, but I really love that about myself, that I can show muscle sometimes easier than others. So now I want to hear your guys' thing that you love about your body. You don't have to put your biggest insecurity if you don't want, but what is something that you love about your body? Drop it in the comments below. Things you wish you knew more about with your first pregnancy. I'm 18 weeks with my first. First of all, congratulations, that's so exciting. I definitely would say postpartum. I felt like everything that I was being taught was all leading up to like this big event of giving birth, but nothing really prepared me for postpartum. I had no idea about like how sore your boobs would get after nursing, or like the contractions that you get after you, like the first few days after you have your baby when you nurse. Those postpartum contractions, those were not fun. Everybody would tell me like, oh, make sure you get your sleep now, so that, because like you're not gonna get it when the baby comes. So I was definitely warned on that, but not as much like all the other postpartum stuff. That's what I feel like I wish I would have known a little bit more about. As far as like labor, nothing really too crazy I like wish I would have known more of. I did a birth class, and I can link the birth class I did below. I'll write it down. I can link the birth class I did down below, and I'm actually doing it again this time just to like refresh myself. So I felt like I went into it like knowing pretty good about what like could happen or what was going to happen as far as like body changes. So yeah, that's probably what I would say, but it's all so exciting and obviously also worth it. Going along on that same note, natural or epidural? I am planning to have an epidural. Last time I was open to either. I wanted to try natural, but my labor ended up being like 36 hours, and holy freak, by the time I got to dilated to a 6 finally, I was so ready for some relief. And honestly, the last time I got an epidural, I got a half because I react really strongly to medicine. So I thought if I get a half, like maybe I won't have a strong reaction. And I still was like so dizzy. I don't know what it was when I got it. I was so dizzy and like seeing double vision. I kept telling the anesthesiologist, I'm like, there's 2 of you. Like, what is going on here? And so it was like, it was strong in that way in the beginning, but then I felt like it wore off and it didn't do that much for me, and it was only on like half my body. This time, I'm really excited to get the full thing and have the full epidural experience. I really do feel like it helped me a lot to be able to be like more present in the moment with Connor, and like what was happening, and have like be able to get some rest before I started pushing. But everybody's so different, every labor is so different, and I think it's amazing if you want to go natural. I think it's amazing if you want to do an epidural. Either way, I mean, it's your birth and your labor. How hard was it for you to recover from giving birth, mood, and on every level? Okay, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Last time was really, really hard for me. I think that was the hardest part, and I don't want this to like scare anybody, because it's like I said, it doesn't last forever. It's just a phase, and it is 100% worth it time and time again. Like, here I am 2 years later doing it again. After like they stitched me up and stuff, I fell back asleep and I woke up because they have you get, at least our birth center has you like go to the bathroom a few hours after. So I got up to go to the bathroom with a nurse, and everything just ripped open and I started like bleeding, and the nurse rushed me to the OR and I had to have like an emergency surgery. So I was stitched up twice, and it was a pretty bad tear. It was like everywhere that it could have been. I felt like I had to sit on like a donut pillow. Everything was so uncomfortable, like laying down was uncomfy. I would have my mom take out Crew's diapers and like take out that center, like what's that, the filling that like soaks up the pee. She would take that part out and stuff it with ice, and I would just like wear it down there. I know that like Frida Baby has some actual like good diaper things like that for you. You don't have to like do your own if you don't want to. All that stuff helped, but it was really tough for me to recover. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I definitely feel like I had some postpartum blues. Like the first few weeks for sure. I think I was just in so much pain. I wasn't getting sleep, and it just kind of messes with your hormones altogether. And I'm the type of person, if you know me well, that I cannot be in the house for longer than like a few hours without getting outside or doing something. I'm like very go, go, go. I like to always have something to do. And it was just, I think, really hard for me to just be there to nurse whenever the baby wanted, and that was like my #1 job, and I couldn't really move that well. I couldn't like get outside and do things, and I think that just like really took a toll on me for the first month. I just remember like breaking down to my mom and Connor in the car one time on our way to the beach, and I was just like sobbing, like I don't think I'm ever gonna be myself again. But then just a few months later, I felt right back to myself and I was totally fine. So I really just think that it can affect everybody differently, and I'm really hoping that this next time will be different. But if it's not, I'm prepared for, I like wrote down a bunch of postpartum affirmations that I'm gonna read to myself, and just knowing that that phase does not last forever and that it'll be over sooner than you think. The newborn phase is so fun and so sweet, and I just really need to soak that up. So yeah, I kind of got off on a tangent, but that's how hard it was for me. My hormones, I did feel like were all over the place, my mood, poor Connor. But I think that everybody is different. Some people feel completely fine right after. So who knows? It's just different for everybody. Do you use birth control between pregnancies? I didn't. This last time I've only been in between pregnancies once. I didn't just because I didn't want to get the IUD again. I've heard really scary things about the IUD lately, like people getting pregnant on them getting lodged at different places, mercury poisoning, all these things. So I did not want to get on that again. I didn't want any pills because I didn't want any more hormones. Already had enough of those to deal with. And I just decided that we were just going to do condoms. So we did condoms and it was fine, and then yeah, we didn't have any problems. So no, I didn't do birth control, and I don't think I'm gonna do it in between any of my pregnancies. Now that I have 2 babies almost, I'm like, what's another one? if it's meant to be and we get pregnant, then it was meant to be. Switching gears a little bit, this is about dating. This says, I love my boyfriend like crazy, but lately I've just been feeling blah in our relationship. Any tips? So I can only speak from being married because that is like what I really remember. We've been married for almost 5 years, and I feel like every like couple in a relationship goes through like highs and lows and times where they're like super like in love and into each other, and times when they're just kind of like I'm just like not feeling it as much. I think that that's just a part of relationships, and I think the key part is to remember that you just have to do things to always be building that love. And so like for Connor and I feel like what we've done that has helped us in like times when we aren't like at our best is like serving each other, taking time to like do things for each other makes you love someone more, and just taking time to like be alone together, like dates, and really connecting, talking about like deeper things, like not just the surface level things, I feel like helps, and just doing fun things together, like remembering what it's like to date again and be fun. I feel like the relationship is over, then that's a different thing, but if it's just like a little bit of a down point, I definitely think that there are ways to like spice it up. Do you shave down there for birth? Well, it's really hard to reach down there if you've been pregnant 40 weeks before. You know, it's really hard. I already can't reach. So I have Connor do it if you're wondering how. But I want to tell you guys about this little secret that I found out this pregnancy that has literally been a life changer for me. So I don't know about you, but I get pretty bad red bumps when I shave and just like irritation. And Connor got this thing called Manscaped a few like months ago, and so I was like, I want to try it. It's basically like a hair trimmer, so it like trims the hair and it gets like a really close thing, like almost like a shave but not completely, and it doesn't leave any irritation. So I've been using that on like that area down there, and just because it gets like a really close shave without any irritation. So if you want to try that, you could definitely check that out. But yes, I do still shave. We're in like swimsuits every day, so it's a necessity. Are postpartum contractions painful, and how long do they last? So I kind of mentioned this earlier. You get postpartum contractions when after you nurse or after you deliver. I got them only when I nursed. I actually don't know if you can get them if you're not nursing. I'm sure you do, because it has to, I think it's the, forgive me, I'm so bad with these. I think it's the uterus contracting back down. Yes, it's the uterus contracting back down. So that happened. That is something that I did not anticipate. I thought like postpartum, like once I deliver, it's gonna be a breeze. Like nothing's gonna hurt, no more pain, I'm all done. But yeah, when you nurse for the first few days, and I think it was just a few days, I can't remember, after Crew was born, you get like those contractions of your uterus like shrinking back down. So that was not fun. It's not excruciating. It's definitely not like labor contractions. At least for me it wasn't, but they're not fun. It's just annoying, you know? This is a cute one. What to look for in a husband? Well, I can just speak from experience on what I feel like is so important in a husband. I feel like your husband should be your best friend. So someone that can know you, every part of you, know the highs, know the lows, and still love you and still be there and support you. Someone that is a good listener, especially if you like to talk like me. And someone that just like really knows how to make you happy when you're sad. Connor's super good at that, and I feel like that has just made our relationship so much stronger. Someone that you can have fun with and make you laugh And probably another thing that's very important to me, might not be important to everyone, is someone that's loyal and hardworking. So someone that I know is 100% there for me, and someone that I know is not just going to be a lazy bum. So that's like what I would say, but I think everybody looks for different things. In the end, the most important thing I would say is that they love you and you love them and you're both committed to the relationship. Will my boobs come back to normal after breastfeeding? I had that same question too. Mine got like big and full while breastfeeding, and then after, I swear they got like smaller than they were before. It's so annoying. But they're definitely a little bit saggier, definitely have some stretch marks, but I feel like in general they usually come back to normal. How old were you when you had your first kiss? I was the year before going into freshman year of high school, so I think I was 14, and it was a total peck and it was hilarious. Sex after birth. I, like I said, had a really tough tough recovery, so I did not feel like having sex at that 6-week mark when they cleared me. Everybody's different. For me, it did feel painful like the first few times, and it took a while to get back to normal. But some people feel like amazing and don't have any problems and want to get back into it like sooner than the 6 weeks, so you just kind of have to like check with your doctor. But yeah, it's painful, but it takes it doesn't take that long. It didn't take that long for me to get back to normal. I can only speak from my experience, and I promise it goes back to normal like eventually. Like it's not gonna be like that forever, if that makes sense. On the topic of sex, 2 more questions. This one says, sex before marriage, how did you know you were ready the first time? So Connor and I did not have sex before we got married. We hadn't had sex with anybody, so we were each other's first time. And it was so special, and I can't speak from the experience of doing it before marriage because I didn't, but I think like something that really made me feel like I was ready was just that I knew that we were both really committed to each other and the relationship was solid. And I don't know, even if I didn't believe in waiting until like I was married to have sex, like if I was going to do it before, I still think it would have been really hard for me to do like a hookup, just because that is just such a like vulnerable part of you, and I just felt like it was really special to save it for somebody that I knew was like committed to me and I was committed to them. But to each is their own. Did you lose your sex drive when you're pregnant? I'm worried I will be less confident when pregnant. That's a good question. I actually had the opposite. I feel like my sex drive went up and I was like feeling a lot better during my pregnancy. Not the first trimester. I was so sick the first trimester and did not feel like doing anything. But yeah, it definitely has gone up, except for I remember the last few weeks of being pregnant with Crew, I was just like so big and uncomfortable that it didn't feel that good. But I've heard time and time again that sex is like a really good way to induce labor, so it's always a good thing, I think. And I can't remember what it is that induces it, but there's some like hormone that you feel when you have sex that is also like a labor hormone, and so yeah, it's definitely a good thing, I guess. I wouldn't know, I'm not the professional, but that's what I've heard. Okay, last one is how to date when you have no self-confidence. I think that the most important thing before you start dating is to know yourself and to know, like, to be proud of yourself and to feel confident about yourself, because if you're not confident, it's gonna show when you date and it's going to like reflect. And I know that like guys think that confidence is super attractive, and so if you're confident in yourself, they're gonna be more attracted to you. So I would say if you're really struggling with self-confidence, first off, stop it. You're amazing. I'm sure that everything that you're worrying about is not even noticeable to anybody else, and I just know that like each person has their own unique way of like bringing people in and making them attracted to them, and whether that's like being funny or being like really relatable or being able to just be a good listener, like there's just so many qualities that you could have that could be so different from someone else, and that's what makes you unique and beautiful. So I would say if you're really struggling with self-confidence, take a step back, take some time to yourself, maybe don't date for a month or 2, and really focus on building up yourself, whether that's finding new hobbies, starting affirmations, telling yourself every day that you're beautiful and smart and important and all those things. I know it sounds silly, but really it works, and I know that you're gonna attract the person that you want to attract if you're the most confident about yourself. So that's what I would say. I also think that it's super unattractive to guys when girls like pity themselves and say like, oh, I'm so ugly, or I'm so fat, or I don't look good today, like all that stuff. And I know that everyone has their moments of weakness, and I've definitely said that before to Connor, but I just know that that's not attractive to boys. And so just try really hard to focus on your own self-confidence before you start putting yourself out there. This was so fun. I hope you loved the girl talk. I loved it. I feel like I just chatted with a bunch of my best friends, and it was really fun, and there's still like so many more questions I wish I had time to answer. So if you guys want a part 2, I'd love to do it. I think it would be really fun. So drop it below if you want a part 2, and you guys have a great Wednesday.
Have a good one.